Yay. Okay. Oh yeah, my pleasure. You're so welcome. Okay, so we're on now. Yeah, warm welcome again. And the way that we'll begin is the way I begin all my workshops is I'll lead you through a guided visualization so that like the purpose is to just really get grounded and centered and in touch with yourself before we get into the creative work. In this workshop, it's more of an intro, so we're not actually going to be doing the writing. But I still feel that the visualization is a really nice way to get us integrated before we go further, and I hope you'll enjoy it. So while I request and require on-screen presence for the course of all my workshops, during the meditation, you can off screen. During any writing, you can off screen too. That's for future workshops, just so you know. And of course, there's exceptions for women who are sick, etc. It's just a way of getting us all connected and together. That said, let's invite you. Oh, hello, Samantha. Wonderful to see you. Hi. Um, so um, that's a good question. We have access to the recording. Once it gets posted on YouTube, absolutely. So maybe be in touch with me to request that too, to remind me. So without further ado, now that I've begged you all on screen, please feel free to off screen if you like. I'll be here for the meditation and we'll begin. So let's just take a few deep breaths right into center. And if we can do this, putting our feet flat on the floor is really helpful for grounding and really tuning into your breath. So in the way that we don't in the course of our everyday, it's really feeling ourselves on the in-breath and feeling ourselves on the exhale as well, and experiencing what it's like to have yourself, your chest, your lungs full of air, perhaps even holding that for a catch, as that can really be supportive for grounding, and then releasing it. So when we slow down our breath a little bit, it's like we sort of trigger our internal mechanism around relaxation and grounding. It's such a beautiful gift we have in our bodies. And as you breathe, I'm going to invite you in this moment, aside from focusing on your breath, to focus on your sit bones on the seat. So where you're connected to the seat, your heaviness on the seat, and just really feeling yourself in this moment with your feet flat on the floor, feeling your feet on the floor, connecting through the floor down to the earth. So really connecting to our planet through the soles of our feet. And if you do have your audio on, I kindly request that you turn it off just for the course of the meditation. So we're connecting at the root, which is the base of our spine, to the earth. One way to do that is to envision a place that is sacred to you on earth, a place where you feel so at peace and at home. And imagine what it's like to be there. So imagine the sense of nature and the sounds. Perhaps there's animals or insects around, the breeze, the temperature, all the beauty, whatever it is you see. Imagining that really closely and carefully, and really drawing that up through your chakra system. So through your root, at the base of your spine, through your feet, up into your system, chakra by chakra, not worrying in this moment about the location of the chakras, but just pulling that energy up through your central channel and up and out through the top of your head without needing to really understand what that means, and down and around your body to about 5 or 6 feet surrounding your body, just a flow of energy whose purpose is to clear your field of anything that you don't need, anything or anyone whose energies have affixed themselves to you that aren't needed can just be cleared in this sweep. And you can be in the sanctity of your own field, which is your birthright. So breathing into this clear, abundant space. And let's just do a little connection now to our fifth chakra, which is located in our throat center. This chakra governs voice and creative expression. So breathe into the throat chakra by energizing it and imagining it as a sky blue disc spinning clockwise at your throat. And as it spins, it amasses power and clarity. And while the chakra is spinning, as you inhale, connect through intention with your unconscious, with your higher self, your guidance, whatever you perceive to be the key to your truth and to your creative force. And don't worry too much about it. It's really just about calling it in through intention. This is what I'd like to connect with my creative force. And breathing into that, notice how you feel. Notice any emotions or images, sounds that arise for you. And send the intention to yourself for deep connection to your core truth and to your creative powers. If it helps, you can imagine your truths, your stories, your poems or screenplays being drawn to your heart and throat like iron filings to a magnet. Just imagining that pulling in of what is deeply important to you. And feel the magnitude of your truth fill your being. Allow your desire for expression to move through your body from your base, your root chakra, located at the base of your spine, through your feet, alternatively, and up through your body system to your throat and to your hands. And so that you can feel the alive presence of your truth and stories in your throat and hands. Feel their embodiment in you. And know that your body and mind is intended as a vessel for their expression. And just take a few deep breaths into this space, this open space of receptivity and self-knowing. So breathing into this space, just relaxing your body and inviting your shoulders to relax on your out-breath. And again, feeling your connection to the chair, by virtue of the chair to the earth, bringing your attention back to your body. Feel your feet on the floor, your hips on your seat. The gravity of the earth holding you safely in place in this moment and in all your moments. And taking another few really deep breaths before you gradually return to our circle, return to our screen. And while you're taking these breaths, I want to acknowledge that we're holding this circle on unceded Indigenous territory with respect to our Indigenous brothers and sisters. So, second, warm welcome to this intro session. I hope you enjoyed the visualization and it supported you to ground and clear your field in this moment. In a workshop, which is obviously what I run all the time when I can, at this point in the session, we would open the floor and we would have a really authentic check-in circle. There's only maximum 9 women in a session, so it's very intimate. And it's a real opportunity for women to share, where they're at with their writing journey, where they're at with their healing journey, what's going on today. So that before we dive into the creative, we really get a sense of what's going on for each woman. And this is one place in the session where we really get to know each other deeply. And I sure love this part. And so today, because of the numbers, we won't do that and the time. But we're going to go on and I am going to, in this session, talk briefly about the series. I'm going to discuss the challenges that I see women writers having most often, especially women who enter these series, this session. We'll talk about the six keys that I've developed as my sort of six most important keys to resolving these issues, these challenges that we can face as women writers. And yes, you can call yourself a writer even if you haven't published a word, and I hope you do. And part of our series is really to get women to come to the place where we can call ourselves writers if we write without a rubber stamp. I'm going to offer take-home prompts. So we'll review them, and then there'll be an opportunity for you to copy paste them and do them at home. I'll then talk briefly, I'll offer an overview of the series itself and sample prompts, which you can also take home. I'll announce the Wise Woman Special, which is on for the next day for women who want to register. And there'll be a question and answer. And somehow we're going to do that all in an hour. And I want to be clear, this is not what a usual session is like. Usual sessions are not all about Marn. They're all about you. And it's really inviting my participants to like come out and share and write and share and reflect. But this session, I'm going to talk a lot. So please bear with me, or kindly do. So the Women's Writing as Healing Workshop series is in its fifth or sixth year now. And it is an incubator for women's healing, empowerment, and written expression. It's a cauldron for our writing processes. So it is a safe place where women can write freely, experiment, and grow our writing voices. It provides us with an opportunity to connect with ourselves and to connect with a loving group of women writers. And we write. We totally write. It is not just about personal development. Healing is a huge theme, but our focus is also on writing. And the point of this series is to inspire us to writing creativity and self-connection and interconnection as well. So I'm going to pull up a document for screen share so that you can see what I'm talking about. In my years of facilitation, these are the most common challenges that I have found that women writers face. So you can see how common, how you relate here, what you think. So just one moment while I pull up the document and share the screen. Oops, come on, middle screen. Sometimes screen share plays hide underneath my little icons. There we go, thank you. All right, so here we go. So here are some of the most common challenges that I've found that women are facing in these workshops. One is isolation. So we can feel really isolated in our pain, in our lives. We really want to connect with other women, especially. And we can also feel isolated in our writing. So something that we want to do that we know is good for us can be compounding in our sense of isolation. And we wish that somehow it could be less lonely to write, okay? Number two is anxiety, depression. So we can be working through something in our lives that's reflecting as anxiety or depression or other difficult emotions. And we're intent on finding a way to release ourselves from this cycle. And often we have a hunch that writing could be a way to self-support, and we even journal a lot, and we kind of are like, hey, this has worked at times. How can I sort of push this even further in the right direction? Sometimes we have trauma histories, or we're currently addressing trauma in our lives. So, I have women in this program who are currently dealing with, who during the course of the program are dealing with divorce or grief from the death of a parent, bulimia, anorexia, difficult stuff, okay? And we feel that writing can offer a relief through expression, and that the support of a close circle would really benefit us as well at this time. We can feel stuck at the gates. So we can have what's classically called a writing block, but we don't have to sort of, I don't know how to say it, minimize it or even boundary it some way with a title, but we can just feel like, oh, I can't get my pen on the page. I know I really want to write. Something's kind of in my way. I think many of us know that feeling is not the best feeling in the world. I know I go through it cyclically, so I never have quite beat it, but sometimes I feel like I have. I'm almost there. Um, we can feel, again, we can feel blocked. We can feel like we're unable to write in the way we want to write. And I hear this from a lot of women. I want to write my novel, but I'm just I can't start it because I'm afraid I won't be able to express the way I know I can express. So that can go on as well. And we can feel a sense of uncertainty, which is so natural. Like maybe we've begun our writing journey. Perhaps we've been writing poetry for like 20 years. And we want to up level, whatever that means. We're not even sure what that means, but we're like, I want to start writing maybe short fiction, or I'd like to start a blog. There's something else I want to do with my writing, but I'm not quite sure how to do it. And we can be very self-critical as women. I think perfectionism should be like number 7 on this list. So there is the list, and obviously it doesn't name everything. I'm gonna stop share for one moment, and I just want to ask, like, anyone here relate anything on that list besides me? Um, okay, or everything on that list. Yeah, thank you. I think it feels better for all of us to sort of see, like, yeah, we all deal with the same stuff as creators, creatrixes, whatever you like. Yeah, and I always like to share at this point in the session that if I had not dealt in my life with every single item on that list, I could not be here facilitating this workshop. And if I was currently dealing with every single item on that list, I could not be here running this workshop. So it's a kind of middle ground we have to find at best, right? So I want to offer you at this point a take-home prompt. So this is a prompt that you can, if it draws you in, if you feel like it will take you somewhere, and um, for women who have done this prompt, the feedback I've received is that it can be very powerful. So I really do encourage you to do it. Um, I'm going to put it up in the chat. And the question is, what are the current challenges in my personal growth and writing journeys? So guiding questions are, what issues am I working on in my life at this time? Don't worry about taking notes. I'm going to post it in a moment. Where am I seeking growth, healing, and transformation? Could my relationship with my writing be improved? Am I writing to my full capacity? Do I have fears or inhibitions in the way of my process? If I'm blocked in writing or in life, how does it feel to be blocked? Does blocked have a color or an image associated with it? What does my relationship with my life and with my writing look or feel like? So we're getting kind of poetic, not in our words. We can write notes. It doesn't have to be a poetic writing. And in fact, I invite women, as I do in all my workshops, to go right from your first thoughts. So point of highest energy, not worrying about how it sounds at all when you do this exercise, and just see what comes out for you. And it can be really surprising. So I'm just going to pull that up and post it. It'll take me one moment because I forgot to prepare that for posting. So one sec here. Oh, here we are. And if you have no healing or writing issues at this time, I'm so envious and I love you. And maybe write about a significant healing you experienced in your life or how the process of writing is for you now. So we're gonna post that in the chat meeting group. So you should be able to copy that into a file so that you can work with that if you like later. And okay. We just took the time. Oh yeah. So I mean, I want to put a question out to everyone, just a brief question. After hearing the prompt, I wonder if anyone has something burning in her that she would want to share about her journey and what is percolating right now. And I know that can feel really personal. Um, but this is a safe space, and we're all women here. And it can also be really sort of opening and inspiring for other women's hearts to hear. No pressure, but just holding the space for a moment in case anyone's drawn.
I think it was the second last one that you mentioned, the block.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Thank you for sharing that. That's a really exciting project. Thank you so much. Um, that's a really exciting project, and I love how you've identified what you need to do. You know, you've already got kind of the key to the shift there, and you sound like you're a very intentional, focused person in
Mm.
touch. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. It is really
Thank you.
inspiring. I wish you luck with that too.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Anybody else who feels called to share in this moment? I know it's different than writing, but it's just for the sake of the info session. I'll just give a moment in case there's anyone. Okay. Okay, all good. So we'll go on. So next part. So I personally believe that there is no writing or healing issue that can't be addressed. And I have seen so much magic in within the work that I do that's why I believe what I believe. So, you know, I've seen women coming into a series of sessions who are really withheld, who don't like their own writing, who are too shy to read in the first session, who don't have that self-confidence. And I've seen women turn like poetic within just a few sessions. And the magic being just, you know, writing, tuning into themselves, feeling the support and love of a group of sisters, because we're all about the love, we're not about the criticism. I've seen women get get their mojo and their confidence in just a few sessions, go from being scared to read to being the first person who puts her hand up to read by session 5. I've seen women like in total block, where they were like, I can't deal, I can't write anymore, like breaking through their blocks and, you know, within 2 hours, say a coaching, that one was a coaching that I'm thinking of right now. So, and really grow themselves personally. So like one of the really exciting things that I see in this series is women, grasping the opportunity to be in a sisterhood and deeply, deeply supporting each other and benefiting from that support as well. And that is something that's the thing that brings me, I don't know what brings me more joy, honestly, if it's watching the writing grow or the personal development, but they're in tandem. Um, so I just have so much faith for all of us in and out of this program. I mean, obviously, I would love everyone here to join my program who feels drawn to it, but regardless of whether that's for you right now, I really would love to impart my sense of faith in our capacity as women to move through whatever is challenging us as writers to that flow place of writing. I am writing a book about it right now, 35,000 words in. So I have a lot to say about it. But I'm not going to do that to you today, don't worry. So let's see. Oh, yeah. I think the next thing we'll do is share some of the tools that I've discovered. They're not going to be totally new for you, I'm sure. I hope you'll resonate with them, and I hope that there'll be some stuff that is new for you, some ideas. And what I want to say is that I have been writing for about 50 years now, which is a weird thing to be able to say. And I've been running workshops for 30 of those years. So I have seen a lot, and I have been through like so many writing problems. Oh my God, in that time. And that's where I come from as well, as I've kind of made clear. And so these tools come from my life experience and my experience working with wonderful clients for many years. And I'm going to share screen with you in a moment and draw those up. So just one moment. Oops, wrong page. Okay, here they are. I hope you can all see them. And warm welcome to Sue, who just entered the meeting, by the way. Okay, so number one is consciously invoking our higher self for guidance. So, you know, whatever your higher self means to you, again, like that could be whatever, that could be your guidance, that could be your some form of super consciousness, it could be angels, whatever it is. So what I always advise and what I do at the beginning of my day is ground, stretch, meditate. And when I sit down to write anything of any importance, If I'm smart, I remember to call in my guidance, align myself with my higher vision. I cannot tell you, if you don't already have this practice, how useful it is for writing exactly what you need to be writing. Just kind of syncs you up with universal guidance. It's a really beautiful practice. And we do that in every workshop through the guided visualization that we went through quickly today. Well, not too quickly, but we went through today. Number two is demystifying the writing process. So we can get very hung up, as I'm sure I don't need to tell all of you, on, again, perfectionism and on like, oh, I've got to do this like a certain way. I've got to like write at my altar or have a candle or whatever it is. And that can really help. And I'm absolutely not dissing it. I wrote like that for years. And I think, though, that what's really, really important is that we just do it. And we do it poorly if we're not in a place to do it well that day. And we do it while we live, while we walk. If that works out, while we stretch. Um, we make it part of our lives and sort of take out the preciousness, even though it is so precious, but we interweave it with our lives and our lifestyle. Number three is connecting to your point of highest energy. So, anytime that I offer women a writing exercise in my program, the implicit invitation and sometimes explicit is always remember, let's go from our point of highest energy, which is our first thoughts, before we edit ourselves down to second and third thoughts, which tend to be less juicy and less energetic, and not worry about how it sounds. No, you never have to read your work to anyone. In my workshops, no one ever has to read her work. I lovingly, support women to share their work. But if she's like, no, not this one, then no, not that one. So you can write anything you want. And it's not about making it perfect. Absolutely not. In a first raw dump of writing, it's different. And it enables us to write in such a huge way. And I often say to women, if what comes through in our first thought is weird and embarrassing, that is awesome. Write that, write that. There's so much juice there, and you can change it later on if you want to. You don't have to stick with it. There's no rules. So number four is make time for it. And I, like many writers, I struggle with this too. And I have to learn and relearn how important it is to make time for our writing. And why it's important is that, well, there's so many reasons, but I will start by saying that even 10 minutes a day, even 5 minutes a day, which is sometimes a number I'll give to my clients, if they're willing, can just kind of get that tap moving, right? You've probably experienced this. It's like you can go from 0 to 100 after 4 days of writing 10 minutes a day. I promise you, I've seen it so many times and I see it in myself as well. So there's that aspect of like just turning it on if you're feeling like I don't have the time. But beyond that, we all know how nurturing writing is and how it is to connect with our ourselves and our deep selves and our creative, how important that is for our health. I'm not going to lecture on that one, but making time for it. Okay. Connecting with others. This is honestly, this is a main tool in writing. So I don't believe we can be writers in our garret on our own and be happy, productive, fulfilled, creative. And if the writing isn't coming, that's a big invitation to get out there and go jogging or hang out with your best friend or, chase your dog around the park. But like to have some form of external connection that isn't just about you and your brain and your arm and your writing. So, yeah, believe in that so greatly. And my goodness, I can't tell you the number of times personally that getting out of my house has got me out of my head and back to excellent writing once I got back to it, but not before. So really listening to ourselves holistically, and in tandem with that, number six, let go and get moving. So if it's not coming, adding, a physical element to our regime. So as I've shared, like I always start my day personally with 30 minutes of yoga and stretching, and that really helps me, but everyone will have her own way. Maybe that's a walk for you or a jog or a workout, whatever it is. How can we be embodied? George Sheehan, who is a great writer and runner, used to say, he was sort of paraphrasing Emerson, and he would say, first be a good animal. And I really advocate for that. I'm a former runner, I will admit. So yeah, how can we be a good animal? And that, how will that inform our writing? So big questions. And I'm going to stop the share for that in a moment. So the series is designed to integrate all of those tools except for moving and getting out there with outside with our friends, but we do connect with each other. And so it's a pretty big deal. And oh, there's one more tool. I always forget to share this. I'll pull my screen back up in a moment. So there's a huge tool at our disposal when we're writing in this series and when we're doing journal writing, and you may know about it, you may well know about it. It's called expressive writing, and I'm just gonna find that on my page again and pull it up. So expressive writing is a very exciting feature. And whoops. So expressive writing, it's scientifically proven to play a significant role in physical and psychological healing. And what it is it's the kind of writing that we do usually in our journals, often in our journals, where we explore our emotion, as opposed to expository writing, where we talk about what we did today, or even necessarily fiction. But I believe that writing, fiction in whatever form and poetry can also be a form of expressive writing because we can really dip into our emotion in that realm as well. And I'm not going to bore you and go through every single item on the list in terms of what expressive writing can do for us, but you can see some of the points here. I mean, I like to tell people like it does everything for a person psychologically, physically, emotionally, except for auto vacuum our living room. So it can increase white blood cells. It can help us sleep. It can help us recover from anger issues. It can help us focus and get less depressed, etc. So it's powerful. Yeah, it's powerful. Advocate for it, and it's definitely a secret sauce in the series because we're always looking at our emotion, how we feel on the page, talking about it. And for curiosity, there's a lot of different theories about why expressive writing works, and nobody really knows, is the very short answer. The longer answer for another day, because I don't want to wear out your attention span here either. So I hope that part was helpful. So I'm going to offer you a second prompt now. And again, this is for take home. So I'll put it up in the chat in a moment. So um, the point here, this is a really powerful exercise for manifesting. And manifesting doesn't have to be like magic. It can be something that uses our psychology, really, an imprint, to help us to create what we want and discover what it is we want and notice it when it arises in our lives. So the question is, what is your ideal? It's about how you'd like to transform your life and or your relationship with your writing. So what does your ideal life look like right now? And what is your ideal relationship with your writing? So these are leading questions. And again, I'll post in a moment. How would I like to grow and change? Where would I like to empower myself? How would I like to see my relationship with my writing change? What would I like to write? How will I feel when I'm writing? How will I feel when I achieve that life transformation? Where will my writing take me? Would I like to be writing more often in new genres with new confidence? Okay, all these questions. And one moment while I post, whoops, finding the right document. While I post it in just a sec here. And I'm going to open the floor again to if anyone is inspired to jump in and answer part of that question that they feel called to in this moment, or that's kind of burning for them. If any, I'll just leave a moment for women to, for anyone to come out if they want to. There's a lot there. I mean, there's a lot to think about in terms of what we do want to create. And I hope that you will take the time after the session at some point to look into this and to sit with yourself and really ask yourself. Again, it's such a powerful point for creation and creating what it is you want in your life, in your writing. So, thank you for bearing with me while I shared all of that. And what I would like to do now, for those who are interested, is briefly outline what the series is about. And I'll also talk about the Wise Woman Special. And there's a chance to ask questions, and I'll share sample prompts as well. So what you've seen, as I explained, and for those who came in late, is not a sample of what the series is like. This was all about me telling you stuff. But the workshops are all 2 hours each. They go on for 6 weeks, so that's 12 hours of workshops. Start next week. This particular one, Women's Writing is Healing, will run Mondays from 5 to 7 Pacific and Tuesdays 12 to 2 Pacific. We start with a guided visualization, similar to what we did today. We have our authentic check-in where we get to hear about where each woman is at and really connect to ourselves and to each other before we get into the creative. I'll bring a different healing theme to each workshop. So sky's the limit for like all the different types of healing themes that we can look at. Everything from self-value to curiosity to relationship and love and transition, transformation, rebirth. We're looking at healing themes that will sort of invite us into our own healing in some significant way. And then what I'll offer during the session is usually we have time for 3 prompts. I'll say 2 to 3 prompts, depending on the size of the group. And what a prompt is, and I'll show you a sample shortly. A prompt is a snippet, a short quote, a short poem, maybe a little snippet from a speech by a woman. And we'll hear or we'll listen to that prompt, and then I'll offer an invitation. An invitation is a very carefully curated open question based on the prompt that helps women, the purpose of which is to help women to go wide and deep with their answer. So it's not going to be like a yes or no question. And we'll see samples shortly. And for women who are not inspired by the quote or the prompt, I always invite women to just like go from your place of highest energy, take advantage of the group energy, the group chi, and just write what's there for you right now. We write for 10 to 20 minutes, depending on how long women need. And then we have what's called an optional share circle. So during this circle, it's an opportunity for women to share her writing, a piece of her writing, and or her process with the writing. For example, she might be like, I went really deep with this piece. I don't really want to read it, but this is like this is what went on for me when I read the prompt and then when I tried to write and whatever it is. And as listeners, our role is to listen really deeply and to hold with love and respect what the woman who is speaking is saying, and then to reflect back to her if we're called to where we're inspired by her piece, what we loved, where we got shivers, what made us think, oh my God, I'd love to hear more of that. So it's a leaning into that aspect. And we go around and we do this again, like 2 or 3 times, depending on the amount of time we have. And that is the session. So, and then I send home optional home play, which is a 4th prompt that women can write to if they want to during the week. There's no pressure. And we make room in each session for reading some of that home play if women want to read. So that is generally how it works. And then there's an option of add-ons. So for women, so that's called level 1. It means everyone takes level 1. It's basically 6 workshops. Oh, the 6th workshop is a little different in that it is a group reading and closing ritual. So each woman's invited to bring something that she loved, that she read, that she wrote during the series to share. And then we have a beautiful ritual around gratitude and what we receive from each other in the series. So we laugh, we cry. It's a very beautiful evening, afternoon, wherever it falls in our schedule. And for women who sign up for level 2 or 3, all that means is you've signed up for an additional one-on-one coaching experience on top of the writing workshops, on top of the 6 workshops. So level 2 is 2 coaching sessions, level 3 is 3. And I always offer women, especially in the Women's Writing and Healing program, your coaching session, like this is for women who want to focus on, maybe a specific issue within your writing experience. Maybe you're starting a manuscript. Maybe you would prefer the session be intuitive healing session. So my background is dual. I'm a professional writer, I'm a professional energy work therapist. So we can just focus on healing and on intuiting and sort of working through stuff at that level, or we can combine and we can look at our writing as well. Happy to answer questions about all this stuff later or whenever. My website's also chock full of information. So the Wise Woman Special I want to explain is on from now until 24 hours after the free info session up for your series. So ours ends tomorrow at 6 p.m. Pacific, and that's $50 off Canadian. It's all in Canadian. Off the price of your session, whether you're taking level 1, the 6, or you're adding the 2 or 3. I'm going to follow this up with a send out where I'm going to send you all of everything. So you'll have all the information you need. I believe Christine also put up in the chat in case anyone wanted access to me sooner than my send out, which will happen in the next few hours. There's my website, my email address, but I'll be sending out all the prices. And just for, I don't know them all off by heart. Oh, here we are. For reference. So the regular cost for the 6-part series is 400 Canadian, and it's reduced to 350 for the next day. And the other levels, maybe I won't do out loud just for the sake of our timing and women's patience, but I'll send them out. They're calibrated at rates unavailable otherwise. So women can sign up for a bundle of sessions with me, but it will be a little more expensive than what women could pay with this introductory 2 or 3 coaching session if one chooses to do it. And I absolutely love working with women one-on-one, to be clear, as well as in the groups. And I want to show you sample prompts, but before I do that, I feel like I should just leave room for take a moment and ask if there are any questions before I share sample prompts in this moment. Okay, so, and you can always interrupt me at this point and I'll just find those sample prompts. So again, if you like something from these sample prompts, of course, you can also take this home and try it. There. Oh, there. Okay, so these are what I've chosen. I hope you can see the share. These are especially short prompts that I chose as samples for this series. So we can have longer prompts, but for the sake of screen sharing, it wasn't going to work well. So the first is a quote by Glennon Doyle. I'm not going to read everything. I'm just going to sort of skim for you, but you can read, of course. So pain is not tragic, pain is magic. Suffering is tragic. So that's the concept of this quote. And then the invitation is, how is your pain paving the way to your becoming? Okay, so you can see how open-ended that is, and how the intention there is to really get us into the depth of our feeling. What can we write here that, that will reveal ourselves to ourselves? And the theme for that session was initiation. And the theme was possibility, and I offered a short quote by Rupi Kaur, great Canadian poet. What is stronger than the human heart, which shatters over and over and still lives? And the invitation is to write about a time of shattering and rebirth for that one, okay? And the final, no, I think I did 4. So from Courage, theme was Courage. I have a quote by Harriet Tubman, very, very courageous woman who was guiding slaves out of the South. And her quote is basically about encouraging everybody under her charge to keep moving. If you hear the dogs, keep going. If you see the torches in the woods, keep going. So she was quite a hero in my opinion and really adamant, strong. And so I found her very inspiring for this theme of courage. And the invitation would be right inspired by Harriet. And I'd speak more about her in the session, or by the line, if you want a taste of freedom, keep going. Again, open-ended question. See where you can see where that leads you in your consciousness. And finally, from a workshop with the theme of peace, we have a quote from great American, First Nations American poet Joy Harjo. And this was, we look at the whole poem in the session, but I've just included the end here or part of it. It's about calling our spirit back. It may be caught in corners and creases of shame, judgment, and human abuse. So she, it's a very eloquent piece. And the invitation is welcome your spirit back from its wandering. So that's, see where women take that and where they feel they want to take that. And by all means, like, try these at home. So let me just double check something. That is the intro. And, I want to say, one, of course, I'd love to hear any questions, and I'll stay after in case anyone wants to ask privately. 2, again, I'll be sending out all the information after the session so that if there are women who do want to register, and I sure love to see anyone who feels like this is for her. I warmly invite you to register. I have 1 woman registered in the series so far, so we actually have 8 seats, and I think it'll be a pretty intimate class. So with that said, thank you so much for coming and for listening so deeply. And again, any questions before you leave, or blessings and all kinds of blessings on your writing journey, your healing journeys as well. Thank you.